alcohol inks now. Look at that. Straight away, we've got a difference. We know with our normal one, it just takes over. But what's it going to do on this one? Look at that. The colours touch, but they don't muddy as such. Right, we are back with another experiment with the hairspray, but in a much safer way. We're not going to be using UV resin where it's generating heat and sizzling and stuff. We're going to be doing it with epoxy. Now, I've had an idea. I want to give it a try. I want to try this first. And that is spraying the hairspray on the back of the epoxy and then doing our petri drop. I want to compare. So what I'm going to do is we'll have, say, a row of normal, which will be our, what do you call it? Control, just on its own as we normally would. And then the other side, I'm going to be spraying the back with hairspray. Now, hairspray kind of creates a film, which we've realized. And I think that that could do something with our inks, whether that's going to prevent them from sinking or not, or it's going to make them spread out more or less. I don't know. We're going to find out. So we are using the Let's Resin Daniel Cooper collab resin for this. And we're also going to be using the Let's Resin 26 ink alcohol ink set. Let's get mixing. Okay, so my resin is mixed and poured. Now I need to spray my hairspray, but I don't want to contaminate the other pieces. So what I'm going to do is just cover using some empty mixing pots. Just try and cover the areas on the pieces that I don't want the hairspray in, hopefully. And then we can experiment. I think that will do. So I've got some bubbles in my epoxy. I'm so impatient when it comes to mixing. I could have used my machine, my bubble machine, but I couldn't be bothered. It's just an experiment. But what I'd be interested to see if this does create the film, whether that prevents any of the bubbles from actually escaping. So we've got the row on the right with the hairspray and the bottom one here. The reason why I wanted to add the hairspray before the inks is because if I add my alcohol inks and then spray it, I just think it's gonna blow the inks everywhere. It's just gonna be messy. So we'll try it this way. I think what I'd do is I'll probably show you the ovals and maybe the hearts, but I'll speed some of it up because it can be time consuming. So I'm just going in with my alcohol inks now. Look at that. Straight away, we've got a difference. That's crazy. Is it going to do it with all of the colours though? Because some colours spread more than others. Now, if this works, this is going to be crazy because one of the biggest feedback I get from people trying petri art is they struggle with colours and mixing, muddying. Look at that. I want to try and keep the placements in the same places. Let's go with a red so it's fair. But then I want to see how much I can actually cram into this. Look at that. See, it could change though when we add our white, because we all know adding the white can also just make everything dance and move all over the place. Yellow for me is always like it always spreads quite far. But it's not, it's just sitting there. But this is crazy. Let's go with an emerald green. See, I'm running out of room now. And this is going to be risky placing it near the orange. But we like to be risky on this channel, don't we? Let's go with... I'm losing track of what colours I've added already because I'm quite astonished at how these inks are just staying. I don't want to add any more in that one. You can already see they're starting to merge. The only issue is, I'm thinking, is that when we add our Sinker white, if it doesn't spread as like these haven't, what can happen is the Sinker can all be concentrated in one area, which potentially means it's going to blob. But I don't know. Let's go in with a bit of peach bread on this one also. That's crazy. Let's go in with our Sinker white. As always, massive shout out to my channel members, anyone who's bought me a coffee or a super thanks, all my subs, and anyone new. What's going to happen here? We know with our normal one, it just takes over. They start dancing. But what's it going to do on this one? Look at that. But are we going to still get the petri effect? Or is that hairspray going to prevent the Sinker from actually doing anything? I think I can still go in there with more colour. I don't know what colour to go with though. Let's go with an azure blue. Look, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. It's starting to move a bit there. I think that would do. I think it's still gonna. It's looking like it's spreading out slowly. It does look very, very different. Here you can see the muddying that's happening, and it's still dancing away. See the way the inks are moving around still and dancing like little explosions or fireworks. That's not doing anything at all. It's slowly starting to expand, which is good, because what that means is that we can get really sharp, if it works, really sharp and crisp kind of borderlines where the colors touch, but they don't muddy as such, in theory. So I just sped that part up. I'm stunned and amazed at just how vibrant these pieces are with the hairspray. The color sharpness is just incredible. I know I added a couple more colors in certain pieces because I just wanted to see how much I could actually get in there. I know it's not an exact fair comparison, but if anything, I've pushed the experiment side even further. We've still got some really nice colors in the normal ones, but I'd be interested to see if we still get the petri effect and what happens over the next hour. I mean, they've spread out really nicely, which is good. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. This could help so many people that are struggling with their ink dropping, and I think this could work in other ways as well. So we're going to be back in around about 1 hour. That's going to be interesting as well, because if that has formed a film, is it going to affect the stir? I don't know. A part of me wants to kind of see. No, don't poke it, Dan. Don't poke it. Leave it alone. Back in about an hour. Okay, so it's been an hour. And we've got that stringy resin, which is good. Just do a comparison between the two. Okay, so the hairspray side is definitely stickier. I'm hoping I can stir these and it's not going to start going yucky. And essentially, if this works, what this could mean is that we could make identical pieces pretty much and have a lot more control over our alcohol inks. We shall see. So that's all I do. I don't go as far as to touch my mould, as most of you already know. I just swirl them. So I'm going to do the rest off camera. We'll be back for the exciting part. Hopefully no blobs. Right, we're all cured. They're still a little bit soft, but that's not due to the hairspray. That is just due to the timing. I started these kind of mid-afternoon yesterday, I think. Okay, did we get any decent results at all? We'll start with the small ones. What I'm going to do is hairspray in the right, control normal way in the left. And we will see what we've got, if anything. So this is the normal. We've got some spores in there anyway. Good colour. And this is the hairspray. You can see there's a lot more vibrancy in the hairspray version. We have got some heavier sinker white, but we mentioned that because that sinker is concentrated in those droplets, it's not spreading and dancing the way that it normally does. But that could just be a one-off. But it's definitely a lot more vibrant than the normal one, which is an absolute bonus. And this isn't necessarily about the kind of results. We're probably going to get some better pieces without the hairspray. It's more about the control. It's more about potentially being able to reproduce certain colours in certain areas, and also hopefully less risk of muddying, of the colours merging. It definitely looks like they're kind of holding their place a bit better in the experiment versions. Let's check these two small round ones. I'm hoping they've not sunk too much, but we can fix that. Wow. Again, this one, I'm not going to say that these aren't stunning, because they are. But look at the colour difference. Ignore the spores. What we can do, I think, is see this bottle is it's just the sinker white and it's half full. If I was to fill that and thin that down, blend it down with some alcohol, some 99.9% alcohol. We've done this before on my channel. We've reduced the sinking of alcohol inks. We've already done that. So that's 100% doable. So we could reduce this by just blending down our sinker white. But look at the colour difference. It's crazy. I know some of these pieces as well, I crammed in a little bit more colour than the normal ones. But you can definitely see a difference in the vibrancy. They're a lot more colourful. It's like a little crowd of people in there. Crazy. I think this could help so many people struggling with the petri effect. We've got some muddy in there, but we've also got that in there. I have this sometimes with certain colours anyway. So it hasn't really done much in that piece. We have some deeper spores. But again, I think the vibrancy is just there a bit more in those pieces. Let's go with the hearts. This heart here, you'll notice there's a bit of negative space around. I just put a little bit too much resin in this one. So what it's done is the alcohol inks have just slightly pulled in. You can see a difference on the back as well. Again, to me, it looks a lot more vibrant. The colours are popping a bit more. It looks like they've separated a bit better. But again, we've got those spores, but it's not a bad thing. They're spaced out enough for me to not dislike it too much. Let me know in the comments, what are you thinking about this? Is it worth it? For me, it's looking like they're a lot more colourful. The last two, what did we get? I think this one in itself is going to be a stunner. I love this negative space here as well. Huge difference in the vibrancy and the separation of the colours. You see here they just kind of all blend together, but in here they've kept their grounds. I don't know. I think we need to try it again, but with a thinned down version of the Sinker White to know 100%, but I think it's worked. I do think it's worked for an experiment anyway, for a first experiment. We can only progress from there, really. Right, hope you enjoyed that one. I will see you. This one is absolutely stunning. I will see you for the next one. Bye for now.